right here on Rock and Roll Radio.
Indeed you can, as always. I've always been a big Ramones fan ever since I saw them about 10 years ago with the Talking Heads supporting them in a tiny little club in Liverpool which was so small Joe Ramone couldn't stand up straight and had to do the whole set bent over in double. And I've never met them though, and it was really nice to be able to speak to them last Wednesday when they played the Playhouse in what, as shall be revealed in a few moments' time, is probably going to be their last ever Scottish gig. I'll be speaking to Dee Dee Ramone after this. Dee Dee, it's great to have you back in Scotland. You're on a tour at the moment. How's it been going?
Very good. The shows have been sold out, and the audiences have been really good, and been playing some good rock and roll every night.
It's always like that, though. You're always good.
Yeah, but I think we're better because everybody's staying straight. You know, everybody's like, like being like an athlete. Instead of going to the bar after the show, we just go to bed and all. So like every day we feel really in good shape, and we're giving better shows, I think.
Is it difficult to keep that sort of self-discipline up on tour?
No, because that's the way I think everyone should live, you know. The other way, we were just living like a bunch of bums. Now we've shaped up, but you can't do it. Also, we're getting a little older, so we have to be more careful with our, bodies. You know. Was it
really a drain on you in the older days when you were doing very, very fast sets? I mean, you're still fast, but you can pace yourself better.
Now we're faster because we're very influenced by hardcore music, and like a lot of our new songs. I don't know if you heard them yet, like Animal Boy and Eat That Rat, our new intro. They're very difficult to play. They're very fast, and if you make one slip, you get lost. You know, like. Especially they're hard to play on guitar, like they're easier on bass because I don't have to play all the strings, but we're playing very, very fast.
The advent of hardcore music in the States seemed to give you a new lease of life. That's why it seemed over here. I don't know what it was like in the States.
It did, because the audiences are crazy in America. Like they all jump on the stage and then throw themselves off. They don't spit. Instead, what they do is they form like human pyramids and throw themselves on the stage and then drive off. I've seen people dive off balconies and all sorts of crazy things. People climb up on the PA and dive off, and the hardcore scene did give us a new lease on life because it created a new. It's not sort of the same as punk, but I guess it's sort of the modern day punks, what was like punk in '76. But over here, they still seem to have punks, though, which is good. I like that.
Does that mean you're getting a whole new audience?
Definitely. Our audience is very young, and they're all new. But we still get a lot of our old fans, like Ramones concerts are a good place to meet all your old friends, Usually when we play, like everybody, it's like a big party, It's like an event. Especially when we play New York, like it's like really, it takes like 2 hours of talking in the dressing room, socializing, before we even get ready to do the show, And we usually don't go on stage till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Is there a big difference between the audiences you get in the States and the audiences you get in Europe?
Yes. They're a little bit more laid back in Europe now. America seems to be going through its punk rock movement right now, 10 years later, whereas Europe already had it, and they're more sophisticated.
What sort of scene is it like in New York? You were saying there that you socialize a lot. I mean, obviously when you started out, whenever it was, 1975, 1974, there were a lot of bands like Blondie and the Talking Heads and really coming up at the same time.
Great
Do you have
bands. Yeah, Patti Smith and Television and Richard Hell and the Heartbreakers, and it was a great time for music, Do
you have that same sort of kinship with bands now, with newer bands?
No. No. We feel like every other band is like the enemy. It's a vicious competition, like we used to like the Cramps and all. You know, like the Cramps are one of our favorite bands, but now like we're in competition with them. You know, we're touring the same circuit, and we don't want people to go to their shows. We want them to come to ours and see the Ramones. But we do try and help a lot of the young hardcore bands in New York. We always get them jobs opening up the show, and we'll take them like further into the country. Like we'll take a group called the Mob. You know, they're like a local hardcore group from New York. We'll give them a few dates, and we'll take them down to Virginia and Washington D.C. And you know, people like to see like two New York groups. You know, like I think we should have had a punk group on this show. You know, like maybe it would have been nice to have like Sonic Youth or someone like that on the show, or I don't know if they're still together, but I really like the Gun Club, you know. I wouldn't mind playing with them. In America, we did some really good shows. We played with the Black Flag, the Ramones and Black Flag, and that was a heavy bill, you know.
Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun, I think. We were just going through, I was getting you to sign all my albums and old photographs and stuff, and it doesn't seem to me all that long ago since the first album came out. How does it seem to you?
It doesn't seem like 12 years, but it has been 12 years, you know, but it doesn't seem like it. It's been a good 12 years. I'm very I don't know if it's going to last much longer. We're planning to stay together maybe till January, and then we might have to quit, you know.
Why is that? I mean, is this going to be the last time we see the Ramones? Surely not, Dee Dee. Come on.
Well, we want to be good, you know. And like right now, like we're trying our best to be good. We're still really good. And like when we want people to have a memory of us as being real good. You know, the Rolling Stones are old and they're still real good. I think they're as good as ever, you know. But we're not that type of band. Our band is like, when we do our show, it's like playing a game of basketball or football or something, and it's like being an old boxer, you know, like you can't really box when you're 35, 36, 37 years old, and you know, we're all around 32, 33, 34, so like we haven't got much time left, really.
You could always come out, you know, every now and again. I mean, I believe the Dictators did a reunion show not so long ago.
Well, maybe if we just slow it down and don't play so much, you know. Like, we can't tour like we used to tour. We used to tour 320 days a year of the year we were on the road, and then the other days left we would come home and make an album, you know. But we have it very hard because we didn't make it to the big time, so like we still have to travel in a van and stay at lousy hotels, and it makes it hard to do this, you know. Like,
do you feel resentful about that, the fact that you've had so many great songs, great singles that weren't big hits?
No. In fact, the only thing I resent is that somehow we've taken this money from the record company, and then they have us by the balls, you know. They say, well, we want you to put out a hit single, and I don't think the Ramones need a hit single or what. They should just be, you know, we're not one of these big groups. We're just like, we're not for everyone, you know.
How do you feel about videos and films? You made that great film, Rock and Roll High School, which is still a joy to watch. And you made one or two videos, which haven't really been widely seen.
No, well, we'd like to make another movie, but making a movie is very hard work. It's awful. But if we got another, but we are going to make a couple videos. I wrote a story for Something in My Drink, and the producer who produced Rock and Roll High School, Alan Arkish, he's going to produce the video for us. So maybe it'll be, you know, who knows what it'll turn into.
Did you find a big difference between making that film and making the videos? I mean, the psychotherapy video, for example, is a great thing to watch, but it must have been difficult to put together.
Yeah, it was. But actually, the only one I didn't like was that Howling at the Moon video, but all our other videos are real good, you know. But we don't like to have our pictures taken, you know. So like we freak out when we have a film camera on us. It's awful, you know. Like we use our photographer to take the album cover because he can do it in 10 minutes. You know, whereas like most people, like when they ask you to pose for pictures, they ask you, you know, it takes like 2 hours, and they ask you, oh, why don't you stand this way, and why don't you smile, or, you know, and why don't one of you sit on stoop and kneel down, and, you know, we don't like to do that stuff.
How do you go about recording and writing songs? I know there was a time when every song was credited just to the Ramones, then you started to credit each other individually. Was that just because you wanted to keep up a group identity to begin with, and then you thought, let's have credit where credit's due? Joey
was writing a lot of songs then, and he wanted recognition. He felt like he was writing the songs, and he wanted to be noticed. But now I'm writing most of the songs, but I'm not in competition with anyone, you know. I have a lot of new songs. I have a song I wrote about Phil Lynott. When he died on Christmas, I was very upset because he used to be a good friend of ours, and we used to hang out with him every time we went to London. We'd go to the embassy and party and everything, and then he died, and I felt it was so senseless and such a waste, you know, and like I wrote a song about that. I have about 6 or 7 more songs for a new album. I think we're going to do a new album. What else are we going to do with these songs?
That's the Ramones and their latest single, Something to Believe In, which you can also find in the new LP, Animal Boy, which also features a song written by and sung by Dee Dee Ramone called Love Kills, which is from the new Alex Cox film, which I am given to understand maybe in Edinburgh in the fairly distant future, not too distant future, but sometime around about the summer. That's just received a stunning welcome at Cannes, apparently. My thanks to Dee Dee Ramone for chatting to me, and it was a lot of fun, but then I'm a fan. Thanks very much, Ed. You're listening to Monday here on Radio 4 with myself, Mark Hagan. Between now and 8 o'clock, we'll be finding out about some BMX news. I'll be having a chat with Jane Root, who's a young lady who's just